every page, and that means page in here, like half of one of these pages. Just sort of move to your left, and we'll have. Start. Sorry, I totally chose you. You have like food in your mouth. Delay.
Just tell me where
Just the first page. Yeah, and we're just gonna go around.
Wait, we're doing a round
The
robin?
story of Passover is the story of a family that becomes a great nation. The family is Jacob's family. Jacob was also called Israel, and his family was called the children of Israel. The story begins with the Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt. One night the Pharaoh had two dreams. In the first, 7 fat, healthy cows were eaten by 7 thin, sickly cows. In the second dream, 7 big ears of corn were eaten by 7 small ears.
Double-sided.
I don't believe this.
These dreams worried the Pharaoh. He asked his wise men to explain them to him, but they couldn't. Then the Pharaoh called in one of the children of Israel, the one who was living in Egypt. His name was Joseph. Both dreams are really one, Joseph explained. With these dreams, God has shown the Pharaoh what he is about to do. There will be 7 good years, followed by 7 years when nothing will grow. You must save food during the 7 good years for the 7 years that follow.
The people did as Joseph advised. The food they saved Egypt, and Joseph was honored and made a minister of the land. When Joseph's father and brothers and their families came to Egypt for food, they were honored too. There were 70 of them when they came. They settled in Goshen, a rich, fertile section of Egypt. Many years passed. Joseph, his father, and all Joseph's brothers died. The Pharaoh died too, and a new Pharaoh became the ruler of Egypt. Now, are we doing this paragraph?
Oh no, keep going.
Now there are no longer just 70 children of Israel living in Egypt. There were a great many more. When the new Pharaoh saw all those Israelites living in his country, he became worried. He was afraid that if there was a war, the Israelites might join his enemies and fight against Egypt. It's like always something.
The Pharaoh had a plan to keep the Israelites from becoming a powerful enemy. He would make them his slaves. Go now, he told his advisors. Announce to the children of Israel that I will pay them to make bricks and to build walls around the city of Pithom and Ramses. At first, the people of Egypt worked with the Israelites. Then, one by one, the Egyptians became the Israelites' masters. The Pharaoh stopped paying the children of Israel, and they became his slaves.
As slaves, the Israelites were forced into hard labor. Any slave who did not work hard enough was whipped, beaten, and sometimes killed. But even as slaves, the Israelites had more and more children until it seemed that all of Egypt was filled with the children of Israel.
Then the Pharaoh's astrologers, people who studied the stars and learned about the future, warned the Pharaoh. They told him that the Israelite boy would be born who would one day lead his people against Egypt. The astrologers couldn't tell the Pharaoh which boy it would be, so the Pharaoh ordered that every newborn Israelite boy be thrown into the river and drowned. The Egyptians kept careful records. They knew when each Israelite baby was expected. When the baby was due, the Egyptians came. If the baby was a boy, they took him from his mother and threw him in the river. But one Israelite boy was saved.
The boy was born 3 months earlier than expected. His mother hid him until she knew the Egyptians would be coming. Then she made a tiny ark out of leaves, mud, and tar. She placed the boy in the ark and hid it in the bulrushes along the edge of the river. The boy's sister Miriam watched to see what would happen to him. The princess, the daughter of the Pharaoh, found the ark and took it from the water. She brought the baby to the palace, named him Moses, and raised him as her own son. When Miriam saw the princess take her brother, Miriam ran to her. "Should I get you someone to nurse and care for the baby?" Miriam asked. "Yes," the princess answered. The girl ran and got Moses' mother. So the baby's nurse was his own mother.
As Moses grew older, he knew that he was an Israelite. It hurt him terribly to see his people suffer as slaves. And one day, when Moses saw an Egyptian beating an Israelite, he beat the Egyptian. In his anger, Moses struck him with such a force that the Egyptian died. Moses was afraid that the Pharaoh would find out about what he had done, so he ran off. He ran a great distance to the land of Midian. In Midian, he married and worked as a shepherd. One day, many years later, while Moses was watching his sheep, he saw a bush that seemed to be burning. There were the flames but the bush wasn't harmed. Then Moses heard a voice call to him from the midst of the bush. Moses, Moses, yes, I am here. It was God speaking to Moses. I have heard the cries of my people, God said. I will deliver them out of Egypt, and you will be their leader.
So Moses and his brother Aaron went to the Pharaoh and asked him to let the slaves go free. The Pharaoh refused. Those slaves are already too lazy to slaves. They don't need to be free. They need more work. And the Pharaoh made the slaves work even harder. Moses asked the Pharaoh again to let the Israelites go free. If he didn't, Moses warned, all the waters of Egypt would turn to blood. The Pharaoh refused to let the slaves go, and the waters in the rivers, the sea, and even in the jars the Egyptians kept in their homes turned to blood. That was the first plague. There were 10.
When the blood became water again, the second plague came. Frogs covered the land. They were everywhere. They were in the Egyptian fields, in their homes, their ovens, and even in their beds. When the frogs were gone, the third plague came. Thick clouds of lice swarmed over the land. They attacked the Egyptians and their animals. When the lice were gone, the fourth plague came. All the animals suddenly appeared. Lions, bears, and wolves ran through Egypt, ruining whatever was in their way. But, like the plagues, the animals did not attack the children of Israel. When the animals were gone, the fifth plague came. The deadly disease attacked the Egyptians' cattle.
When the cattle stopped dying, the sixth plague came. Painful boils broke out on the skin of the Egyptians. After each plague, the Pharaoh was given a chance to end the suffering by letting the slaves go free. But the Pharaoh always refused. When the boils were gone, the seventh plague came. Huge hailstones mixed with fire and fell on Egypt. When the hail stopped falling, the eighth plague came. A swarm of locusts darkened the land.
They ate every plant, vegetable, and the leaves and fruit off every tree. When the locusts were gone, when nothing green remained, the ninth plague came. It became as dark as night in the middle of the day. Egyptians could not see their neighbors, but for the children of Israel it was light. When the darkness ended, the 10th plague came. The firstborn of every Egyptian house went down.
Pharaoh was terrified. He was the firstborn son. In the middle of the night, as the firstborn were dying throughout Egypt, Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron.
Leave now, he said. Go quickly before we all die. The Israelites left that very night.
The next day, when the Egyptians and the Pharaoh saw that the slaves were gone, they cried out, "What have we done? Why have we let them go free?" With an army of soldiers, horses, and chariots, they chased after the children of Israel. When the Israelites saw them coming, they were frightened. The Red Sea was ahead of them. The Egyptians were behind them. There seemed to be no place to...
Wait.
Oh,
Lift up your rod, God told Moses. Stretch your hand out over the sea. Moses lifted his rod and stretched his hand over the
sea. Divided. There were two large walls of water and dry land between them. The Israelites walked through the water to the other side of the sea.
My turn, right?
Yeah.
We're doing it this way.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. The Egyptians followed. When they were in the midst of the sea, Moses raised his hand again. The walls of
Water.
collapsed and
Flooded.
together the Egyptians,
Drowned.
the Israelites were free.
Passover doubles as Mad Libs. That's great.
When the Israelites came to Egypt, they were just 70 people. Now, standing at the edge of the sea, they were a huge free nation.
everything.
The Rugrats.
No more stuff.
Didn't they also wander for 40 years after this?
All right.
Is that it? Is that done? We're done?
Yeah, we're done. Time to grub.
Pick up your second text.
Kidding me?
Page 38. We're almost to food, guys. And we're almost at the next glass of wine, which is really the most important.
Yeah.
All right. I took your father Abraham from across the river, and I led him into the land of Canaan. And I increased his descendants, and I gave him Isaac, and from Isaac I gave Jacob. And when Jacob and his children went down into Egypt, Joseph was already in Egypt. Joseph had emerged with power over the land of Egypt. There was famine in all the lands, but in the land of Egypt there was bread. And Pharaoh said to the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph, whatever he tells you, you shall do." And all the world came to Joseph in Egypt. But after Joseph died, and all his brothers and all that generation, a new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. And he said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are too numerous for us. Let us then deal shrewdly with them, lest they increase, and in the event of war, join our enemies in fighting against us and gain ascendancy over the country." So they set taskmasters over them with forced labor, and they built garrison cities for Pharaoh, Pithom, and Ramses. The Egyptians embittered their lives with harsh labor at mortar and brick and in all sorts of work in the fields. But the more they were oppressed, the more they increased and spread, because there's nothing better to do.
I want to point out just something, that how Jewish is this, that they had to question, how is it possible that a new king did not know Joseph? And there's an entire paragraph. All of our Bibles are like that. Like every sentence, there's 75 interpretations and people arguing over it.
Yeah.
Just put an Jews in the audience. No. So Jewish. Sorry, continuing.
So Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, "Every boy that is born shall be thrown in the Nile, but let every girl live."
Oh, sorry.
Is that Yahweh?
Just
Crown unto Yahweh the God.
Adonai is good.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't doing that. I was trying to see if we could fast forward. We don't want to fast forward. He cried on Adonai, the God of our ancestors, and God heeded our plight, our misery, and our oppression. And God said, "I will go through the land of Egypt on that night, and I will mete out justice against all the gods of Egypt, I the Eternal." And God brought us out of Egypt by a mighty hand, by an outstretched arm and awesome power, and by signs and portents, not through a messenger, not through any intermediary or any supernatural being, but the Holy One, alone, in solitary glory. The time the Israelites remained in Egypt was 430 years, or 6,000. At the end of the 430th year, to the very day, all the hosts of God departed from the land of Egypt. The same night is God's watch night for the children of Israel, all throughout their generations. Everyone raise your
Good tidings.
We praise God. I don't think we taste this one, just We praise God who keeps faith with the people Israel. God's promise of redemption in ancient days sustains us now.
Okay.
In every generation, in every age, some rise up to plot our annihilation. But the divine power sustains us over the
Coach, you can replace it, put it down. Without, well, you're not supposed to put it down and then drink it, you're good.
All replace their cups untasted.
Our rabbis taught when the Egyptian armies were drowning in the sea, the heavenly host broke out into songs of jubilation. God silenced them and said, "My creatures are perishing, and you sing praises?"
Though we descend from those who redeemed from brutal Egypt, and have ourselves rejoiced to see oppressors overcome, yet our triumph is diminished by the slaughter of the foe, as the wine within the cup of joy is lessened, when we pour 10 drops of the plagues upon Egypt.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to drop a drop of wine on our plates for every one of the plagues.
Yes.
Okay. So our rabbis taught the sword comes into the world because of justice delayed and justice denied. To remember a people that follows oppression, we pour 10 drops for the plagues upon Egypt. Our rabbis taught God. What's that?
People are doing it.
Okay. You'll see us do it. We'll do it like a drinking bird. Our rabbis taught God is urgent about justice, but for upon justice the world depends. For each drop of wine we pour is hope and prayer, that people will cast out the plagues that threaten everyone, everywhere they are found, beginning in our own hearts. Here we go. Sorry.
The teaching of hate and violence, despoliation of the earth, perversion of justice and government, fomenting of vice and crime, neglect of human needs, oppression of nations and peoples,
corruption of culture, subjugation of science, learning, and human discourse, the erosion of freedoms.
We poured
10 drops to the plagues upon Egypt.
Here we
Here we go, right now.
How big
blood,
is it?
Safardea, frogs, Kenim, lice, wild geese, blight, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, slaying of the firstborn.
Don't lick your fingers. It's a plague everything.
As you said it.
Oh, does anybody else got a smiley face?
Frowny face, yeah. Frowny face.
That's my Jew.
Who is like unto you, O God, among the mighty? Who is like unto you, awesome in prayers, working wonders? Adonai shall reign forever and ever. How many gifts God has bestowed upon us? This is a song.
It just takes a beat to get you in.
Not enough people know the song, but it is a really good song.
Winter.
So Dainu means that would have been enough.
We can all do the chorus
Is the
together.
important
The
part.
chorus is easy to learn. It's
Because
one
it's
word.
one word.
Over and over. It's so fun, yeah.
I like this.
So the word is
so-
Dainu.
Well, I go.
It means that alone would have been enough.
I can go. I do 2 lines at once, though, not like. You Hotian is Villa Carala, no, I tell you, I'm dying. And everyone goes, die, 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 even Carala, no, I tell you, I'm Villa, heavy ride, we took up a Carala, Villa, heavy ride, we took up a Carala, dying. No, we can stop.
I think we should.
We can skip to the last one.
Alright.
Alright.
Let's do the English and everyone go ahead and do the English. So Dainu means that would have been enough, and this I think it's more important for everyone who hasn't done this before to sort of understand that the freeing of everything that God did for the Jews during that we celebrate Passover is amazing in and of itself, but it was just this compilation of things. So we were praising don't eat bread. Had God brought us out of Egypt and not divided the sea for us? Let's go to the left, everyone read it. So you go there.
Has God divided the sea and not permitted us to cross on dry land?
Had God permitted us to cross the sea on dry land and not sustained us for 40 years in the desert?
Had God sustained us for 40 years and not fed us with manna?
You're always supposed to
Had God fed us with manna and not given us the Sabbath?
Had God given us a Sabbath and not brought us to Mount Sinai?
Had God brought us to Mount Sinai and not given us the Torah?
Had God given us the Torah and not led us into the land of Israel?
Had God led us into the land of Israel and not built for us the temple?
Had God built for us the temple and not sent us prophets of truth?
Had God sent us prophets of truth and not made us a holy people?
Everyone. How
plentiful are the reasons for our gratitude to God for the many favors bestowed upon us. God brought us out of Egypt, divided the Red Sea for us, permitted us to cross on dry land, sustained us for 40 years in the desert, fed us with manna, ordained the Sabbath, brought us to Mount Sinai, gave us the Torah, led us into the land of Israel, prophets of truth, and made us a holy people to perfect the world under the kingdom of the Almighty, in truth and in righteousness.
But I mean, we're pretty modest about it. According to the Mishnah, Rabbi Gamliel, who said, "Whoever does not consider well the meaning of these three, Pesach, Matzah, Maror, has not fulfilled the purpose of the Seder." The shank bone. What is the meaning of Pesach?
Can everyone see the
Yeah, it's this.
potato plate?
Yeah, so this is the Seder plate. This is like, usually it's a special plate with like spots on it, little like divots. No, you're right. I'm sorry. And it has these 6 emblems that we're going to sort of go over right now. Participant.
No.
Are you serious?
No, I mean.
Never happened. It's a 5,000-year-old tradition. That's never happened.
I thought we were in 6, okay? In family groups, our people ate the Paschal lamb when the temple was still standing. For them, the Pesach was a reminder of God, passed over, the houses of our ancestors in Egypt during the redemption.
On our day too, we invoke God as the guardian of the household of Israel. As in our dwellings we renew the family bond and strengthen our ties with the whole household of Israel.
What is the meaning of this matzah? Paul?
Of old, matzah was meant to recall that the dough prepared by our people had no time to rise before the final act of redemption, and they baked unleavened cakes of the dough since they had been driven out of Egypt and could not delay, nor had they prepared provisions for themselves.
To the children of the earth we link ourselves today as we fulfill the mitzvah. For 7 days shall you eat matzah, that you may remember your departure from Egypt as long as you live.
What is the meaning of this maror, Jenna?
It was eaten, they said, because the Egyptians embittered the lives of our people, as it is written, with hard labor at mortar and brick, and in all sorts of work in the land, with all the tasks ruthlessly imposed upon them.
Today as well, wherever slavery remains, Jews taste its bitterness.
In every generation, each of us should feel as though we ourselves had gone forth from Egypt, as it is written, "And you shall explain to your child on that day, it is because what the Eternal did for me when I, myself, went forth from Egypt."
Still we remember, it was we who were slaves, we who were strangers, and therefore we recall these words as well.
You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger.
Have yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt.
When strangers reside with you in your land, you shall not wrong them. You shall love them as yourself.
For you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
You shall rejoice before God with your son and daughter, and the stranger and the orphan and the widow in your midst.
Always remember that you were slaves in the land of Egypt.
You shall not subvert the rights of the stranger or the orphan.
Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt.
Not only our ancestors alone did the Holy One redeem, but us as well, along with them, as it is written. And God freed us from Egypt so as to take us and give us the land sworn to our ancestors. Your cups. Therefore let us rejoice at the wonder of our deliverance from bondage to freedom, from agony to joy, from mourning to festivity, from darkness to light, from servitude to redemption. Before God, let us ever sing a new song. Don't drink. Hallelujah. Let's skip to the second cup. Guys, skip to page 60. Go ahead, like one more page, page 60. It says, Kosh Gula, the second cup. With the second cup of wine, we are called the promise of liberation. As
it is written, I will deliver you from their bondage. Remembering with gratitude the redemption of our ancestors from Egypt, rejoicing in the fruits of our struggle for freedom, we look now with hope to the celebration of a future redemption, the building of the city of peace in which all will rejoice. To the service of God, singing together a new song, we praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel.
All right. So we drink this cup and then we eat. So with some gusto, people.
Yeah.
Amen.
Praise you, O God, sovereign of our existence, who creates the fruit of the vine. All right.
Was on our ass.
How's the best way to do this? Should we do it wedding style, like one table at a time, or do we all just like fight each other, elbows and all?
Fight.
Damn it.
James, talk about what we're gonna eat.
Oh, okay. As in like everybody should sort of go into their dish. I made
We have our boat.
yeah, we have food.
I saw some, there's 4 that I saw.
Oh, are we supposed to?
Yeah.
Sorry
You're
about
supposed
that.
to be the one.
I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
call you
right.
and then I forgot.
Yeah,
And I only
do a
have
lot.
one pot.
When you say talk about what we're gonna eat, do you mean like
Just
traditional?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, there's
Do
soup.
the rundown.
There's matzo ball soup. Matzo ball soup is important. At least why don't you talk about what we're gonna eat?
I can talk, I don't know. Okay, we're gonna eat matzo ball soup. Are we gonna eat gefilte fish?
We don't have gefilte.
Okay, we're not
There's
gonna eat
actually a
gefilte
shortage
fish.
of whitefish.
I heard that because there's a
Yeah.
freezing over the lake.
I thought about getting gefilte fish, but I didn't want everyone to associate Passover with like, yeah.
I mean,
Gefilte fish is like jellified whitefish, and
It's like a whitefish.
It's the hot dog of fish.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, yes.
You either love it or you hate it, and there's 10% of people in the first part and 90% of people in the second. So I didn't get it.
okay, so we're gonna eat matzo ball soup,
Matzo ball soup.
brisket,
We do have some.
Yes.
Yes.
or if you're vegetarian, you're gonna eat spinach pie, right?
And quinoa.
And quinoa.
And I've
Everyone
made
can eat quinoa.
green
Anyone
beans
here a
and
vegetarian?
collard or mustard
Oh,
beans.
good.
So the soup in the crock pot is vegetarian.
And
And
the
also
soup.
whatever I made was vegetarian.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of vegetarian. And then the soup in the big metal pot is meat. So
Oh man, those matzo balls have been boiling for a long time.
okay. They look okay.
Okay.
And then we've got dessert after that.
Alright.
So
Okay.
let's. How many people do we have?
They have one.
Yeah, should we all just go?
Well,
Let's do half and half.
What?
James, why don't you go? Since you put all the work into making this
No. We gotta. I'm gonna like Christian
Better to serve
and
people.
John to do best out of 3 rock paper scissors to see which it is.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Wait, clockwise or counterclockwise?
This up, gossip.
Clockwise or counterclockwise from here?
Well, it would be this side.
Oh, half
This
and
whole
half.
time.
Yeah, I believe.
Actually, we should just say you're playing for your side of the table.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
that's
Okay, now you guys are one Christian.
Oh shit!
Come on, John.
That's
Wait,
insane. Wait, that's out of something or?
Is that 1, 2, 3, shoot?
Sun's up.
It's this side?
Yeah, shoot.
Oh, fuck you, Christian.
Alright, it's 2 out of 3, right? It's always 2 out of 3.
Always.
That was always good. It's always
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Come on. You gotta read the man, not the game. It's like poker.
Okay, we got this.
Yeah.
Ready?
Wait, who am I fighting for? This side or this side? This side. Okay.
It's all human.
Come on, baby. Let's do this.
Ready?
Let's go. I'm gonna throw a rock.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
That's insane! That is insane! Yeah, you dropped the hammer on that one. Wow.
Let's shit talk.
That is super ballsy.
Give him his head, Gossip.
Super ballsy. 2, 3, shoot.
That's John's style. We've got instant replay too. We've got the replay. Come on, Gossip.
No, it's 0.
No, that was forfeit because he went like this.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That's right.
That's what James said.
1 to 1.
Yeah, who's keeping it?
Alright, ready?
I was sitting on that side the whole time.
How do you feel, Gossip?
Alright, get out there.
Alright, so we're
Make
going
it quick.
fast. James, are there bowls in there?
Cheated.
Dan, where are the bowls?
Hey.
Yeah.
We had instant replay.
I'm serving.
We had an instant replay. Oh shit.
Yeah, you
Is there more reading? Is there more reading?
No. Maybe after, I don't know.
There's more reading afterwards, yeah.
It's like half a thing at it.
I know.
That's a lot, man. I might just slip out and bounce. Like after I eat.
Came for the free food.
Yeah, I have the
Yes.
rest of that.
Fucking guy.
This guy.
And I don't know.
Joe, can I get some of that?